I can still feel the icy tendrils of fear crawling up my spine whenever I think back to that fateful night. The darkness was absolute, the moon veiled by thick clouds that hung like a shroud over the desolate landscape. The wind whispered in sinister tones, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding. I was alone, my heart pounding as if it were a drum heralding impending doom. It was during a solo hiking expedition in the remote woods of a forgotten corner of the world, a place untouched by the hands of modern civilization. The trees stood like ancient sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, ready to ensnare any unfortunate wanderer. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, a morbid curiosity had driven me deeper into the woods, drawn by the stories of a lost tribe rumored to inhabit these haunted grounds. My flashlight's feeble beam cut through the impenetrable darkness, casting long, shifting shadows that danced in the corners of my vision. Every rustle of leaves and snapping twigs seemed amplified, echoing with a malevolent intent. As I trudged forward, my imagination began to conjure grotesque shapes in the shadows' faces, with hollow eyes and twisted smiles. Then, I stumbled upon a clearing that seemed almost sacred in its isolation. The air grew heavier, charged with an energy I couldn't quite comprehend. And there, in the center of the clearing, stood a circle of crude wooden totems, adorned with animal bones and weathered feathers. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. I had stumbled upon the heart of the lost tribe's territory. As my flashlight's beam traced the perimeter of the clearing, I spotted them figures emerging from the darkness. They were tall, gaunt, and dressed in tattered rags that fluttered like the wings of carrion birds. Their eyes, wide and feverish, glowed with a sickly light as they fixed their gaze upon me. Panic surged through my veins, but I was frozen in place, held captive by the intensity of their stares. The leader of the group stepped forward, his face painted with intricate patterns that seemed to writhe and shift. He raised a bony hand, gesturing for me to approach. I was powerless to resist, my body moving of its own accord as if entranced by a malevolent force. As I drew closer, I noticed the unmistakable scent of smoke, a sickly sweet aroma that mingled with the dampness of the forest. The leader's voice was a low, guttural murmur that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. He spoke in a language I couldn't understand, but his intent was clear. He pointed to a crude wooden altar, upon which lay a collection of bones, human bones. My heart raced, and a wave of nausea threatened to overwhelm me. These were not just any bones, they were remains stripped clean of flesh. Fear and revulsion battled within me as I struggled to comprehend the horrifying truth. The lost tribe I had sought to uncover was not merely a group of isolated people living in the woods. They were cannibals, feasting upon the flesh of their own kind. The implications of this revelation hit me like a sledgehammer, threatening to shatter my fragile grasp on sanity. As the realization settled in, the leader motioned for me to join them in a macabre ritual. My mind screamed in protest, but my body moved of its own volition. I was forced to kneel beside the altar, my pulse thundering in my ears as I watched with a mixture of horror and disbelief. The tribe members chanted in their otherworldly language, their voices rising in a dissonant harmony that sent shivers down my spine. In that moment, I knew I had to escape, to flee from this nightmarish tableau before I became a part of it. With a surge of adrenaline, I pushed myself up from the ground and turned to run. But the forest had become a labyrinth of shadows and shifting paths, confounding my sense of direction. Panic threatened to consume me as I stumbled through the underbrush, branches clawing at my skin like the gnarled fingers of the dead. Behind me, the tribe's chants grew louder, their voices a cacophony that seemed to echo in my very soul. It was as if the forest itself had become their accomplice, guiding them toward their prey. I could feel their presence closing in, their footsteps like whispers on the wind. My heart raced, each beat a desperate plea for salvation. And then, just as I felt the icy fingers of despair gripping my heart, a ray of moonlight pierced the clouds, illuminating a path ahead. With renewed determination, I sprinted toward the light, pushing my body to its limits. The tribe's haunting chants faded into the distance, and the forest seemed to release its hold on me. I burst through the tree line and stumbled onto a dirt road, the moonlight bathing me in its silvery glow. Gasping for breath, I turned to look back at the woods, the source of unimaginable terror. There was no sign of the tribe, no trace of the macabre ritual. It was as if they had been swallowed by the darkness, leaving behind only a lingering sense of dread. I knew that I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, becoming a victim to their insatiable hunger. The memory of that night haunts me to this day, a constant reminder of the darkness that can dwell within the hearts of those who walk among us. And though I have returned to the safety of civilization, I can never shake the feeling that somewhere, out in those forgotten woods, the tribe of cannibals still waits, ready to claim their next unfortunate soul.